Welcome to ECSO News on Blab TV, where facts matter. I'm Amber Southard. In tonight's special episode, we're going to honor our telecommunicators here at the Sheriff's Office by starting with our dispatch. We hope you enjoy.
One of the things I really liked from the get-go was that it's never the same thing. It's always something different. Sure, we have the same routine disturbance calls and all that, but really nothing about every single call is the same. It's all different. So each day you come in, you don't even know what's going to happen. It could be slow, it could be busy, it could be go from 0 to 100 all in a matter of seconds. So if you're thinking about becoming a dispatcher, that would be great. Come join our team. It would be a variety of calls, different. It's always different, like I had said. It's also high stress. It's high stress. It's a high stress job that it definitely takes a special person to do. And you also have to remember, we work 24/7. We don't, but we're there 24/7, so you just have to be able to work any shift at any time. We're also on call for like emergencies and stuff, but it's really, really a fun job.
Coming here, I sat in dispatch for about an hour and fell in love with the excitement, the adrenaline, and just being able to know that I'm helping somebody. A gentleman called for assistance. He was having trouble that day, personally, emotionally, and he needed really somebody to talk to. He was not in the right frame of mind. So I stayed on the phone with him for probably about 10 to 15 minutes while my deputies responded, and he unfortunately wouldn't listen to the deputies, and he kept telling me, I'm only going to listen to her. So I essentially had to give him commands that the deputies were yelling at him that I could hear through the phone to get him assistance. Everything worked out. We were able to get him the assistance that he needed that day, and I felt like I essentially saved his life because he didn't decide to take it. I did say my deputies because we are a family. We love and hate each other like brothers and sisters. I do everything I can to make sure that these guys and girls go home to their husbands, wives, and families at night. That is my job, and that's a big responsibility, and I take pride in that and making sure everybody goes home at night.
I had just graduated college. I had a criminology degree, and I needed a job, and so I was like, well, the Sheriff's Office is hiring for dispatchers, and I got the job, and I came in here and I was completely blown away. I had no idea what it entailed, and I am so glad that I did it. It's been the best decision I've ever made. I love this job, and I can't think of anywhere else I would rather be right now. Do it, give it a shot. It's never a dull moment. It's always something different when you come in here, and it's just a sense of fulfillment, and it's so hard to explain, but I love helping people and talking to people, and on the other side I love talking to the deputies and building that relationship with them and making sure, you know, they're safe and we've got their back all the time, and it's a great job. It's multitasking all day and just staying busy, keeping on your toes, and it's fantastic. I love it. Basic training is at least 6 months. You train for a little bit on the phones, answering 911s, and then you go to the radio after that, and you always have someone there with you, helping you. You get the support from, you know, the other people in the room, and your training officer is listening to you. And the good thing about it is during training you go to a bunch of different trainers, so you get a style of how everyone dispatches, so you have all the opportunity to figure out what's best for you and what fits your needs the best. Right now we are on 12-hour shifts, which is actually, I love it, because when you think about it, you get more time off. We work 2 days and then we get 2 days off, and we are off every other weekend. So you do get to enjoy your weekends. You do get to work holidays occasionally, but I mean, that's part of the job that you sign up for. The deputies do it, we do it. We always have a great time here. We have all kinds of food and, you know, celebrations and stuff like that. And the shifts go by, like I said, it's always something happening in there. You don't seem like you're in here for 12 hours. So when you go home, when you're done with your second day, you get 2 whole days off.
I knew nothing about dispatch. When I started, I came in cold. I knew 2 of the dispatchers that worked here at the time, but I really didn't know anything about the job. So it's a fresh start. It's rewarding, definitely. It's a good career. I love the job. I love the work I do. It is hard coming in the door unless you have a background already in dispatch. it's going to be pretty different than anything you've ever done. Since you're dealing with so many things and everything is really such high priority, everything you do is going to have an impact pretty much on someone's life, whether it be a deputy or a caller. So I would say give it a shot. Definitely rewarding, but it is a high stress and very difficult job. And I tell all my trainees early on, there's going to be a make or break point early on where you're going to get a call that's disturbing. And you find out quickly if you can handle that. I mean, if you need to take a minute after it, that's fine. If you need to talk to somebody after it, it's fine. It can be difficult, especially since when we're off the line with someone, a lot of times we don't get a follow through. Sometimes you won't know what happens afterwards. You just know how you left it with the call. But it does happen quickly. It could be your first day training and you could take a call that's life or death, make or break. And it's just something you have to get accustomed to. Some people never truly get accustomed to it. It's going to depend on your personality and your mindset, you know, how you handle stress. As far as working down here in dispatch, when you get assigned down here, for instance, in training, you're going to rotate through the shifts. And when you get out of training, you're assigned to a shift. Right now, we're on 12-hour shifts. So you see your shift mates a lot. You see them 12 hours a day, anywhere from 48 to 36 hours a week. So it becomes pretty tight-knit, especially on your shift. And every shift has its quirks. It's a lot of strong personalities. The people that are here and that are here that last tend to be kind of A-type alpha personalities, but we all work together very well. We're all working towards the same end goal, and we just have to make sure the job gets done. And like I said, just the amount of time you spend with everyone down here and the amount of stress you go through with everyone down here, you really can't help but get close to, you know, the people you work with. You may not be best friends, but you will definitely always depend on and know that others can depend on you on your shift. It's a good working relationship we have.
I think probably the most impact a call had on me was when I was helping a child. We get a lot of calls from children who have been left home alone or who have wandered off away from mom or dad. And anytime you get a call from those children who may be lost or they're home alone and they're scared, and you talk them through it and you get the officers there and make sure that they're safe, just knowing that the child is safe and has a happy ending, I think that makes the most impact, knowing that you made a difference in that child's life. Being a dispatcher is it's a good career. It's a very rewarding career. You do make a difference in someone's life. You may not know it. Every day, what you do makes a difference. Every day, if your officers go home safe at the end of the night, you have made a difference. It is a very rewarding career. It's a very, very stressful career. It's a hard job. More people can't do it than can. Our training program is very stringent. It's roughly 6 to 7 months. It's very intense. It's very detailed. It's not for people who can't handle a lot of stress. It is it's fun. It can be a lot of fun, but it's very stressful, but it is very rewarding. And most people, when you introduce yourself to them and they find out that you're a 911 dispatcher, it's regarded with respect. When you're in training, we have someone with you monitoring everything you do, every phone call you take for the first 5 months. At no point are you left alone. We give you very detailed training. We tell you exactly what to do. We show you how to do it. We never leave you alone. Someone stays with you almost the whole time you're in training. The last month or so of training, we do start letting you're on your own a little bit, but someone's still always there. And probably for the first year, even after you complete training, someone is always there with you. There's always many people you can ask questions. We have a lot of resources where you can find answers.
I had no idea how much dispatchers did before I started the sheriff's office. I kind of just thought that they talked to the officers. I didn't realize that they also answered phone calls and, you know, ran people's driver's licenses and tags, and I just didn't realize it was all one department. Dispatch training is 6 to 7 months long, and they can extend it if needed. And I feel like it being that long, and with somebody monitoring you and helping you for 6 to 7 months really helps. And everything we did during my training helped me manage stress easier. And I always knew that if I missed something, there would be somebody else to help me kind of fix my mistakes. I'm friends with many deputies now, and when they come to the jail or when they are around the sheriff's office, a lot of them come down to dispatch and see how we are and say hi to us. They call in a lot and talk to us. And I think being on the same shifts with them every day, does help. And now that I have worked here a while, a lot of them will recognize me and be like, oh, hey.
I'm Escambia County Sheriff David Morgan, and thank you for watching Ask the Sheriff. This is your chance to ask me any questions you want answered about the ECSO. Our team hits the streets again, and here are some of the questions you asked.
So, where do you get your dogs from?
Kayla asked, where do we obtain our canines for the Escambia County Sheriff's Office? Kayla, Lieutenant Jason Potts heads up our canine division in Escambia County. He also goes out and checks for the canines that are for sale, and the dogs have to meet a certain set of physical criteria, up to be of a certain age, etc., before we bring them into police training, because as you can well imagine, we spend thousands of dollars training each and every canine, as well as then partnering a canine handler with the particular dog. Right now we get most of our dogs from a kennel in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Susan asked, where can she report narcotics activity due to some activity in the area where she lives? Susan, I certainly, commiserate with you if you're living in an area where there is narcotics activity. I will also tell you, unfortunately, Susan, in today's world, that we have narcotics activity in all areas of Escambia County, in the city of Pensacola, in the city of Century, everywhere in our community, throughout the state and throughout our nation. Drugs and drug usage has unfortunately become a fact of our social fabric and culture anymore. So I say that only to let you know that it's not unique to your area. Illegal activity occurs in our highest affluent areas in Pensacola to the lowest. Of course, it's illegal activity, and so we would appreciate you giving us a call. There's a couple of ways that you can do that. Since it's a non-emergency, you can call 436-9620. That is Central Dispatch. Ask for no officer contact. Ask to speak with a supervisor, and you can report then a specific incidence of narcotics activity. Or again, you can call Crime Stoppers. You can report that anonymously, ask for no contact, and we will honor that. Again, I will assure you that we will look into this. Now, by the way, immediate action normally doesn't occur with narcotics tips. Why? Because there's a whole process that we have to go through in order to build a case that will assure that the state attorney's office can successfully prosecute those cases. Now, barring you getting any satisfaction from those numbers, Susan, if you feel that you're still not being listened to, please call my office at 436-9512, and you'll speak to Anita. Let her know that you made a call into the Ask the Sheriff's program and you would like for us to look personally into this thing. But I can guarantee you, Susan, that we will take your complaint and it will be looked into. We had a citizen ask a question is why do we see a congregation of deputies occasionally at Tom Thumb's, or it may run for several days at a time. What we do is this is part of our supervisory discretion and at the request of some business owners, and it's called mustering. Every afternoon, morning, midday and afternoon shift, when our deputies change over, they're required to all get together with their supervisor, normally a lieutenant and a sergeant and the number of deputies assigned to your particular precinct, and it's called muster. And they go over the pass-ons that come from the administration, be on the lookout orders and a reemphasis, does everyone have their equipment, etc. There's a whole group of both operational and safety checks that our supervisors have to go through. So what we do is we muster at different locations instead of going to, say, a county building. Why? Because it shows a police presence. The officers are there, they'll spend some money, they'll buy coffee, they'll buy snacks, they'll do whatever. It's an opportunity to interact with the citizens. And it also lets our criminal element in Escambia County know that you never really know where the Escambia County Sheriff's Office may muster, 6, 7, 8 officers at a time. And oh, by the way, they might be there for 3 or 4 days in a row before they move on to a new location. So it's about police presence, and it's a normal routine activity. We've just chosen a local business to muster at as opposed to a county building. There is no definitive jurisdiction, if you will, in the performance of a law enforcement function between state and county agencies. There is a jurisdictional issue with city police departments. I know that's somewhat confusing, but unless a city officer is deputized by the sheriff of Escambia County, in our case, to operate outside the parameters of the city, they have no jurisdiction past the city line unless they are in immediate pursuit, or what used to be referred to as hot pursuit, of, say, someone who's just perpetrated a felony. Let's say a robbery went down at one of our dollar stores or Tom Thumbs or Circle K's. They're fleeing the scene. The officer observes this in the city and they follow. They would, of course, ask for assistance from the county, which we would render, and then they are allowed to go outside their jurisdiction, again, in a hot pursuit situation. When it comes to traffic within that, the traffic issues remain the same also. The city would work the city, and what gets confusing is that Escambia County deputies, our jurisdiction is anywhere in the county. We do not observe any jurisdictional lines, if you will, by statute, meaning that if we wanted to set up a speed trap down in the middle of Palafox and Garden Street, we in essence statutorily could do that. Now, of course, we choose not to do that because we have a very professional and capable Pensacola Police Department, and so they operate within the parameters of the city, which frees us up to do the far reaches of the county. Now, within our county, we have what's referred to as state roads, county roads, state roads, and also our national highways and byways, which are the interstates. State roads and interstates are traditionally the purview of the Florida Highway Patrol. However, we also, because they traverse our county and are within the parameters of the county of Escambia, we also have authority there. But just like we do with the Pensacola Police Department, we allow is not the right word, we ask the Florida Highway Patrol to work traffic and traffic accidents within state roads and also the interstate system. That frees us up within the county to do minimal amounts of traffic and respond to, again, what we refer to as higher level crimes. And it's a very, very excellent working relationship that we have both with the PPD and the Florida Highway Patrol. The question is, if there's a vicious, unleashed dog on your property, can you shoot it? We normally don't answer questions about the use of force and or the use of deadly force. The reason being is that if I make such statements, then some citizen hearing this particular tape will misconstrue what I say and then go out tonight and commit that offense, if you will, or take that action in this case. And then when officers arrive to say, why did you discharge a firearm within the city limits or within, the parameters of the county, etc., and some innocent person is struck, a neighbor across the street because you're not the world's greatest marksman, the first response a citizen makes is what? Well, the sheriff said that, I could do this in this instance. So again, I would strongly recommend that you consult with animal control, other individuals, if you will, within the criminal justice system, the state attorney's office. Ask what your rights are as a property owner, and when there's an intrusion on your property, in this instance from an animal. And they're the right ones to answer that particular question, because you're talking about something far beyond the use of a firearm, but also your rights when on your property, and also your rights in defending yourself. In this case, not against a person, but against an animal. You know, I have a very short, easy answer, and that is, you know, if you're being viciously attacked and you are in fear of your life, it doesn't matter if it's an animal or an individual, you're allowed by law to use the force that you deem necessary to save your life. However, each and every instance is different. And I warn and caution everyone that it's never a blanket thing that you're just going to take this action and walk away. You will be asked, probably in a court of law, to defend your actions, not only to the officers that respond, but also to the state attorney's office. So it's never a cut and dried situation where, well, I do this and the situation is over. What you've done now is you've got yourself engaged in a very prolonged, probably series of litigation. The question is there a juvenile jail in Escambia County? There is a juvenile detention/correction facility in Escambia County. The Escambia County Sheriff is not in charge of that. I would direct that question to the Department of Juvenile Justice and to the Board of County Commissioners. They are now in charge of and run all incarceration within Escambia County. What do you do about reporting a drug situation or drug activity in your community, and of course you fear retaliation? You can call Central Dispatch at 436-9620 and report what you see and ask for no contact from law enforcement and that you would like for your tip to remain anonymous. We honor those tips, or you can look up in the phone book, and forgive me, I don't know the number off the top of my head. You can also call our narcotics division and make an anonymous tip. We work very closely with the state attorney's office and obviously our narcotics investigators to ensure what's referred to as the anonymity, meaning you remain anonymous to anyone when you give us tips on narcotic activity. The question is when I go on vacation, what can the sheriff's office do, to basically ensure that my property remains secure? We encourage you to, call again Central Dispatch at 436-9620. Your home address can be placed on what's referred to as a watch list, and during the time that you're gone, our deputies will make periodic drive-bys, and this is logged, by the way, where deputies are, their location, etc. And with your permission, an officer may even park in your driveway while they call in their reports. And so, we do a periodic check of your house to make sure there haven't been any break-ins, and if there is, we get an immediate response. The question is, patrol and patrol activity in a particular neighborhood, and the citizen states that they've never seen this. Well, of course, Escambia County is, almost, 800 square miles. It's a very large area. And due to the number of deputies that we have on patrol on any given shift, on any given day, you may not see deputies for long periods of time, especially if there aren't any calls for service or there's no reason to be in your neighborhood. Let me give an example of the volume of calls that we handle in Escambia County. I think 3 years ago, we hit an all-time high of answering 303,000 calls for service in Escambia County. Now, that's not just calls, to the office and no one was dispatched. These are actually dispatched calls somewhere in Escambia County. Now, that's one for every man, woman, and child that currently lives in the county of Escambia, to include, by the way, the city. So that's a tremendous amount of call volume. I think in the last 2 years, we've finally dropped to probably around, 240,000 calls. So we have seen a reduction in the calls for service because we've also seen a reduction of our crime rates in Escambia County. But that's still a tremendous number of calls to respond to. So you may in fact not see deputies for long periods of time, and it's not because they're not there. There just isn't any reason for them to be in your particular area. The question is when they're pulled over, does the deputy know that you have a concealed carry permit by running your license, etc.? And the answer is no. That That's not something that's routinely done by officers, is to do that level of check. Some citizens feel it necessary to advise an officer that they're carrying a concealed weapon. We've had them hand their driver's license and their concealed carry weapons license to the deputy upon the response to the car. The big thing to do in a traffic stop is to remain very calm, keep your hands visible to the deputy as they approach your vehicle, and always be compliant, meaning respond to the request of the deputy. Also, to be forthright. Let's say that you are a concealed carry license holder and you have your gun in your console where you're now reaching to get your registration and proof of insurance. Again, you would tell the deputy at that point, I have a license to carry and my firearm is located in my vehicle in this particular place. Do you still want me to proceed? And many times officers will, because that obviously puts them at ease, because you've now informed them that you're licensed to carry, and they will verify that at that point. And you're making not what's referred to as quick or furtive movements. Remember, an officer doesn't know who you are when they stop you, and they're going to react to your reactions. So if you're rifling around in your car, in your glove box or inside your console, an officer approaching your car does not know what you're reaching for. And trust me, in today's world, they're going to assume the worst. So you may have an officer approach your car with their weapon drawn. Why? Because it takes only a matter of seconds for someone to lose their life. And again, one of the highest rates of officer injuries and death is from simple traffic stops. So again, what I would recommend that you do is, again, just listen to the officer, keep your hands in view, and then again, follow the officer's directions. Remember, you can also email your questions and ask the sheriff at escambiaso.com. We'll be back next week right here on Blab TV, Tuesday night at 8 p.m.